I interrupt our beginning music for a very important announcement. I'd just like to say happy birthday to my co-host Kate, who turns 40 today, July 8th, in case you don't listen to it today if it's release. So everybody who listens to this, please send happy birthday wishes to my co-host, Kate. Thank you very much.
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there. Welcome back to Dyatlov.
I'm catching on real quick.
Dyatlov part Kate chokes.
I was going to say, welcome back to Kate dying in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is History Buffoons.
Part 2.
Part 2 of Dyatlov Pass. I am Kate.
And I am Bradley.
And
this is...
We have Audra here, who is a
still,
coworker of mine who loves the story of Dyatlov Pass.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She's been very informative. I've liked her interjections so far on the part 1 because I didn't know that shit.
Yeah.
So,
if you have not listened to the first episode, please go back.
and do it for the love of fucking God.
Do it. Go back, because you're going to be confused if you do not know the story.
Oh, I was there and I'm confused.
The background is super relevant, right?
The background is very relevant.
Very relevant.
relevant.
You're building up the reason why these people are here. So, I mean,
You got to know a little bit about them, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just like, you know,
No,
9 fucking randos just
right. No, 100%.
out there playing around.
Playing around in the snow. I mean, I used to do that. That was great.
Okay.
There's one for me.
So if you decide
I'm
good.
if you decide not to go back and listen,
That's a fucking tragedy.
This is the story about 9 very experienced hikers.
A tale of 9 Yuris.
There's 2 at this point, but yes.
The third one bailed.
9 hikers who have died mysteriously on the mountain in the northern Urals in Russia.
Siberia.
The same thing. The same. So,
I mean,
if you have not gone back to listen to the first one or watch the first one,
for that matter,
we talked about the background of the hikers and the weather, the terrain, and what they brought with them.
Yep.
We've really set the scene.
We really have.
We really have, yeah. We set it up, so if you did not listen to it, that's on you.
And the timeline. We also went through the timeline of what we knew happened.
So far, yes.
And when we all started drinking.
That's fair.
That's fair. She's not wrong.
We were having some White Russians with vodka and heavy cream and
still Bailey's.
Bailey's.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, there it is.
Yep.
And I'm having a Modelo because I've had enough liquor from the first episode.
Creamy dairy treats.
Creamy dairy treats.
She literally only had one White Russian.
I had one. And a nut.
What the fuck?
Okay.
It's all about balance.
So, we're going to start where the search begins.
After the fact?
After the fact.
Okay.
The group was expected to return to Vizay.
Yes.
By February 12th.
Right.
And send a telegram to the university sports club.
Saying, hey, we made it back.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Give us our fucking category 3
Exactly.
now.
Yes.
I want my piece of paper.
So no message comes. Families start to raise the alarms. February 12th came and went.
They didn't start raising an alarm for 8 days, though.
So.
Telegram.
Almost not true. So.
Okay, well.
The parents.
Learn me something.
The parents of Rustem Slobodin was the first to express some concern.
Sure.
Rustic's father was the professor Vladimir Slobodin, who teaches at a local agricultural university.
Okay.
And he actually telephones the UPI sports club.
Okay.
So he was told that the director of the club, Lev Gordo, is also on a trip.
Oh, okay.
He on vacay,
Oh, dear.
and he won't be returning for several days.
Right.
So more days do pass. So day after day, relatives of the hikers call the university, and they're given the same spiel.
Which is
The group is late.
understandable, yeah.
The director is gone. Please
Okay.
be patient.
Well, sure.
So
They're up in the mountains.
Yes.
No phone, no radio.
delays
yeah.
are usual.
Yeah.
They are usual.
Well, especially with inclement weather.
Yes.
You don't know. Whatever.
Justifiable at this point.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
So Igor Dyatlov actually told Yuri before he turned back
Yeah.
that because the trek was so complicated, he was expected to take the hike a little bit longer.
Sure, I get that, but
So
okay.
finally, on February 17th, the university officially sends an inquiring telegram to Vizay,
Okay.
the village where the Dyatlov group was supposed to be returning to.
Have
Sure.
you seen these hikers?
Exactly.
Yeah. What's up?
Yes, so the families also make a request to the university for some search planes. But no, they're not going to do that. No,
No.
no.
These dipshits did this on their own.
Yeah. So the reply telegram the next day, because they get it the very next day, says the Dyatlov group did not return. So finally, the university takes charge and finally assembles a formal search party of the missing hikers. However, the Dyatlov group's official approved route was ne'er to be found
Oh shit.
because they didn't actually get it approved by the commission's records. It was lost in the Soviet paper shuffle.
Cold War.
Again, there's some shit going on. So-
Yeah, I mean Cold War and KGB and space race, all that shit.
Yeah.
So
So
Sure.
we have no idea of what the exact path would have been.
right.
So, with no definitive map of their course, the rescuers are essentially marching into this frozen tundra with basically a blindfold on, not
Yep.
knowing which way the group actually went.
They went to Lambeau Field,
What?
the frozen tundra. Anyways,
I'm
That's-
Nebraskan. I don't know what that means.
That's a common nickname for Lambeau Field.
the frozen
The
tundra.
frozen.
Why?
The ice.
Because it's cold up here.
Does North Dakota or Montana or Seattle or Maine or Vermont or New Hampshire have a team?
I said the Ice Bowl.
What does that mean?
So we're not talking about other states. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers.
I know, but are there other places in the north that
It
have?
doesn't matter. Those don't have teams.
That's what I was asking. If they had teams.
No.
Yeah, North Dakota's a no.
Montana, Seattle.
No.
Seattle doesn't have a
Seattle
NFL.
has a team,
does,
but-
but it's not.
But it's rainy. It's
Frozen.
it's like this.
It's not the rainy tundra. It's
Yeah.
the frozen tundra.
Correct.
What about Alaska?
They don't,
don't
have,
have a
football team.
That sucks for
Yeah.
them.
I mean, it's dark for
A while.
a while up there, and then
And
it's
it's light for
yeah,
a while.
a while.
I feel like
there.
we're getting off point.
Anyways,
We are. But you just started naming states.
Well, you started talking about a frozen tundra I know nothing
blew
of.
your mind with football.
There's a baseball game on tonight, the Brewers.
There's a Brewers game on every night, from my understanding.
Almost. Yes, you're right.
Not
almost.
last night.
Shit.
So,
Okay.
oh dear.
Finally, two men get into a military helicopter and fly over the Ural Mountains, but they don't get very far because of poor visibility.
Was it snowing?
Reoccurring theme.
Yes.
Yes.
There was a storm. They had to turn back.
What the what?
Yeah. February 21st. Volunteers, students of the UPI,
There it is.
UPI,
Yep.
police and military researchers or searchers
Or
head into the mountains.
okay.
They had planes, they had dogs, they had local guides from the Mansi tribe.
Yes.
They all joined the effort. Okay. February 26th, the tent is found.
Cut from the inside.
Yeah.
Fellow student of UPI, Boris Slovstov.
I feel like we're at an impasse here.
His group discovered the trail of the skis that they assumed to be of the Dyatlov group.
Well, assumed, yeah.
The next day, on the February 27th, they discovered the tent on the slope of the Dyatlov Pass.
Yes. Well, it wasn't
It
called
was
that.
named that after, but yeah.
Yes.
I say
Ironically, Slovtov.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, have you seen Slavtov?
Slavtov.
Oh, Slavtov.
Blah, blah, blah.
He was among those who actually helped construct the tent 3 years prior by taking 2 4-man tents and sewing them together.
He's the
So-
one who stitched it up.
So, where did the 9th person sleep?
Seriously, Bradley.
Again, foot to face situation.
Wash him.
Yep.
He recognized this tent immediately. Now, take out your fucking phones. Take out your fucking phones.
Oh, that was a direction for us?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't need to take out my phone because I'm recording you on my fucking phone. So, fuck your
Bradley,
couch. Yeah.
I need you to go to our drive.
I have it up right now.
I need you to look at the tent. It's called the Dyatlov Group something or other.
Oh, you have a different thing I'm supposed to look at? Dyatlov Group tent?
Yes. Take a look at that picture.
So that's the tent, like, that they extracted.
And
right?
they put up back at the police station?
Sure.
Was it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're going to eat, I'm going to eat.
No, I'm not eating.
You are, though.
I'm not. I'm taking a drink.
But that doesn't matter. So, this is the 2 4-person tent sewed into an 8-person tent with don't have room for 9th, but
But hey, everybody's friends here.
so okay, continue.
Okay.
I'll wait for my question.
This tent was
No.
found 300 meters from the top of the mountain
Bald Mountain.
on a,
Yeah,
depending on what resource you look at,
yeah,
a 22 to 30 degree slope.
right.
Okay. Dyatlovpass.com.
Oh, they have a website for that.
Yes, that is in charge. The Dyatlov Group Foundation
Right.
is in charge of dyatlovpass.com.
Okay.
They say it was a 30 degree slope. Okay.
So why is there a discrepancy there?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I would just venture a guess. It depends on snowdrift,
Yeah.
settling.
No,
Amount of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. So the official report says this, quote, campsite is located on the northeast slope of Mountain 1079 at the source of River Ospia,
Aspia.
the River Ospia.
Okay.
Campsite is located 300 meters from the top of the mountain 1079 on a slope of 30 degrees. Campsite consists of a pad of flattened snow on the bottom of stacked 8 pairs of skis. Tent is stretched on poles and fixed with ropes. At the bottom of the tent, 9 backpacks were discovered with various personal items, jackets, raincoats, 9 pairs of shoes.
Okay.
There were also found men's pants and 3 pairs of boots, warm fur coats, socks, hat, ski caps, utensils, buckets, stove, axe, saw, blankets, notebooks, food, biscuits in 2 bags, condensed milk, sugar, concentrates, itinerary, and many other small items and documents, cameras, and accessory to cameras. The nature and form of all. Cuts suggest that they were formed by contact with the canvas inside of the tent with the blade of some weapon, presumably a knife. End quote.
Can you say utensils again?
Utensils.
There it is.
I'm no forensic investigator here, but
Right.
the picture, if you can insert it to
Yes.
reference what I'm about to say.
Yes, we can.
The tent is caved in upon, correct? So how does one tell at the point that everything is snow-packed, right,
Right.
that cuts are made from the inside or the outside?
So the one that I listened to today was some random seamstress, right? Was in there for some other work and happened to see this set up within the police department, I guess it was, and said, "Oh, those are from the inside." It's like, so she's not an expert,
Yeah.
but
She's
she knows
a
her
seamstress,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she knows her shit kind of thing. But
Okay.
Yes.
it just is like, oh, okay.
So the sides of the tent were cut from the inside. And it looks like the hikers chose this weird exit
Yeah.
to leave the tent, completely ignoring the entrance. And it looks like they fled suddenly and irrationally into the night.
Right.
Some of the cuts on the tent did not make it all the way through.
Okay.
Okay. So this tent did not have zippers.
What did it have?
Zippers were invented at this time, but the tent was sewn together,
1893.
and then the entrance was secured with rope ties and loops, and they closed manually by using by tying the canvas flaps together.
Oh, okay.
So it was functional, but not a quick escape.
Right.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So searchers discovered that the back of the tent was half buried in snow on the side of the mountain.
Okay.
So the north part was covered with 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. It was concluded from general appearance and density that it was not a result of an avalanche, but blown by the wind.
Sure.
Near the tent, a pair of skis were sticking out from the snow,
Okay.
which couldn't have remained upright had there been an avalanche. And at the entrance of the tent in the snow, was an ice axe.
Ice axe? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Next to the ice axe was Dyatlov's jacket. In the pockets was a penknife on a carabiner and a pocketbook with Zenita Kolmogorova's photo inside. Zenita's Kolmogorova's photo inside this pocketbook.
Okay.
Inside of Igor's pocketbook.
Right.
Suggesting that they were dating.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you had said before. Okay. Yep.
The objects did not shed any light on what had happened, but it was strange that Dyatlov took off his jacket outside the tent.
Well, yeah, because it's like, why would you do that in this cold?
Exactly.
So,
Well,
yeah. Well,
On the side of the tent,
we'll get there.
on top of 10 centimeters of snow, 10 centimeters of snow, laid Dyatlov's flashlight.
on top of the tent and snow.
On top of the snow.
That's so weird.
Boris I'm so sorry.
We apologize for our pronunciation of everything.
Yes. He picked it up. He was one of the searchers. He
Okay.
picked it up and turned it on. The flashlight was in working condition.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
From Boris's witness testimony, he said, quote, "It was strange that while there was a layer of snow, let's say 5 to 10 centimeters thick under the flashlight, there was no snow on top of it. And it was snowed slightly on either side." End
Okay.
quote.
So,
Wind?
wind,
I
right?
mean, yeah. drifting,
It's
all
going
that
to
stuff.
sweep off the top and the object becomes uncovered. So
That's what I would assume as well. Unfortunately, there were also a lot of problems when they documented the tent.
go figure.
Yep.
Two photos were made that did not fit well together.
Okay.
Have you seen the photo now?
The tent one?
Yes,
Yes.
the tent photo.
Yeah.
You can see that there are two photos that were kind of stitched together
Yep.
kind of horribly.
Yep.
The side of the tent facing uphill was not photographed.
Oh.
We know that there was at least one hole in the tent, and Dyatlov's jacket was actually tucked into this hole.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Weird.
At the far right end of the tent is left out of the photos. My cats are hungry. They're pawing at the door.
I thought I was losing my mind.
The cats
I'm
are
like
hungry.
looking like, does anybody else hear what I'm hearing?
I'm like,
Someone make eye contact with me. I'm confused.
what is this?
My cats are hungry.
Is it in my head? Anyways.
Part of the torn material on the right side is covering a hole that has never been measured.
Interesting.
The sizes of the holes are not precise, but only approximate.
Okay.
And when the seamstress who had come in she came in to like size up an officer's wardrobe or something.
Yep.
Okay.
She was the one that noticed these knife marks on the tent are coming from the inside,
Right.
the inside out.
Yeah.
Why did she decide that these cuts were important and others that were on the tent were not worth mentioning?
See, here's the problem with everything. I'm a skeptical bitch, right?
Okay.
I automatically think everyone is lying until I know differently, right?
Yeah.
So my mind is going, is this a witness testimony?
Right.
Who is this woman?
No. She's not an expert. She's a seamstress. But
right.
would we call her an expert? We don't know.
No.
Well, I mean, but who documented this? Like, how many
Right.
people were involved in this conversation? Because as we talk about the conspiracy theories and the possibilities here, the popular option is to scream cover up, right?
Right.
So, in the grand scheme, who's this woman? How does this lend to the story?
Sure.
And how do we know that it's not all bullshit?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it could be 100% bullshit.
Could be.
I mean, seriously.
That's why this is popular.
Well, and that's the thing. It's the whole pure speculation of what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Nobody will fully ever know.
No.
They can do their forensic evidence and so on and whatever, and like they mentioned something in that one which we haven't gotten to yet, so whatever. But we'll get there.
Okay.
But it's like no one will ever fully know.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there.
Yeah. I'm just a skeptical bitch.
Well, and that's
I think
fine.
everybody's lying.
Which is
all
why
the
you're
time.
on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, another problem with these photos, there's no ruler.
So you have no idea the scale.
No. There was a chair in the back of the photo, which they used as a measurement
Really?
to measure the holes in the tent.
That's weird. Really?
Yes.
That seems really odd.
Yeah.
Or just not very well planned out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
seriously. Okay.
So, outside of the tent, 8 or 9 pairs of footprints, all were leading downhill towards the woods. Okay?
Okay.
Some were barefoot, some were in socks, some had a single boot on. And you can tell all of this by the pictures that they took.
Sure.
So that kind of just puts the question out there, right? This is where I spiral, guys. If the wind was strong enough to blow anybody's guesstimate of covering of snow
Yeah.
around the flashlight that's on top of the pile, so to speak,
Yep.
how did the wind not sweep over and destroy these footprints, right?
Well, right. Yeah, that makes no sense because just drifting alone would have covered those up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if, the other one comes out, avalanche, how do we preserve, to say, 9 sets of footprints, some in boots, some barefoot, some stocking feet?
Yeah, no, that's really weird to really think about.
So as they're looking upon these footprints down the hill, they notice that it's all in single file.
Okay, so they're like the sand people from Star Wars?
Like little ducks in a row.
Or the sand people. Yeah.
Some would deviate outside of the single file and then come back. So a couple times they would move out of the single file and come back. Okay. Mm-hmm. But all in all, it looked like 8 to 9 sets of footprints heading down the hill in a very organized
fashion.
Not panicked.
Right.
Not fast, but just they're marching down the hill.
Sure.
It was uneventful.
Uneventful.
Yes.
Okay.
February 27th through March 2nd.
Okay.
The first 5 bodies are found.
Oh, shit.
About 1.5 kilometers, or about 1 mile, downhill from the tent, the investigators followed the footprints as best they could. Okay. They do disappear for a little bit, and then they come back towards the bottom of the hill, mountain. Mm-hmm. The investigators found the remains of a fire under a cedar tree.
Yes.
Okay. 2 bodies were there.
Right.
Yuri Grigory Krivonishenko.
Okay.
And Yuri Doroshenko.
Had to be both Yuris.
Grigory Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko.
Yeah.
They were both barefoot with minimal clothing. Now, much of the research that I did said they were in their underwear, which was not the case.
No? Okay.
Based on the Dyatlov Pass website by the Dyatlov Pass Foundation, say that they were not in just underwear, but they were barefoot.
Which is basically like being in just underwear out there, right?
They were in minimal clothing.
No, I mean, for sure, because, fuck, could you imagine?
No.
Do you think it was because...
I can't imagine any of this.
Do you think it was because Igor was washing her feet?
I mean...
That's part of the theory.
They failed the test.
Okay, so Grigory Krivonishenko, he was found facing up.
Okay.
Krivonishenko's right leg has no footwear. On his left foot, there was a brown sock, torn.
Okay.
Another sock like this was discovered half burnt next to the fire.
Interesting.
On the backs of his hands, the skin is torn. Between the fingers, there is blood. The index finger is also torn. The skin of his left shin is torn and covered in blood.
Okay.
There are no more visible injuries on his body.
All right. That seems weird.
Upon later investigation, it was noted that his own flesh was between his teeth.
Because he was probably trying to bite himself to see if he could feel.
Potentially to see if he had any feeling in his hands.
Right, because they were going through hypothermia, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. He essentially bit his own hand in desperation to figure out if he could feel anything.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right, exactly.
I would imagine you're trying to just figure out, am I fucking alive anymore, or have I completely lost it?
Because at that point, you're probably fucking...
You're so disoriented. You're so
delusional,
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, am I alive? I don't know.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Could be a good idea.
Yeah.
At that point, and the problem is when you're so deep into hypothermia like that, you're not gonna feel that for a long fucking time.
But also, if I'm a hiker that's stuck and I'm fucking freezing, I'm going to be trying to rub any part of my body.
Yeah.
Because, especially my fucking legs, right? Because those got to work. Like, I got to get out of here.
100%,
right?
yeah. for sure.
So his clothes were found on Ludmila Dubinina.
Okay.
Suggesting that she took his clothes to wear for herself.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Krivonischenko's cause of death was hypothermia.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yuri Doroshenko,
Yeah.
he was facing down, but he had livor mortis on his back.
What does that mean?
His blood was pooling on his back, even though he was facing down. All the blood should have pooled down then, right?
Right, but it was up on his back.
It was on his back.
Okay.
Which means he would have died on his back.
So livor mortis
found on his front.
We learned today. Livor mortis is different than rigor mortis, obviously.
Yes.
Livor mortis is lividity, for those who don't know it. So the blood settling when you're deceased.
Oh.
Rigor mortis is the muscle tightening.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So
Sure.
he had livor mortis on his back, which suggests that he died on his back, but he was found facing down.
Interesting.
Okay. So this suggested that someone moved him after death.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Possibly survivors. And possibly after they took clothes off of them to wear themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Doroshenko had woolen socks on his feet, and over these socks were another lighter sock.
Okay.
His ear, lips, and nose are covered in blood.
Oh, dear.
And on his left hand, the middle finger is bloody.
Interesting.
Okay. His cause of death was hypothermia.
Sure.
Okay. The branches on the cedar tree, which they were found under, the two, they were broken up to the height of 5 meters or 16 feet, suggesting that the hikers had climbed the tree to potentially look for something.
Okay.
These cuttings were at the base of the tree and not used for burning. They were too young of branches. So they were too wet, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
The clearing of the branches in the tree were facing towards the tent. So we're looking at a mile downhill, right?
Yeah.
We're a mile downhill. There's a cedar tree. And the clearing in the cedar tree is in the direction of the tent. So suggesting someone climbed the tent, maybe cut down a clearing to look, climb the tree, cut down branches in the tree to look for where the tent might be.
Oh, so they're just trying to find their way.
Potentially.
An orientation kind of thing.
Right,
yes.
Like, which way am I even going at this point?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Forensic tests conducted on the bark of the tree had traces of skin embedded in it, suggesting that the pair had frantically attempted to climb the tree while snapping off branches until their hands basically turned to kind of mush a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I could not imagine being in this fucking scenario.
No.
It's just wild.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Continue.
The fire in the branches around the fire in the branches around the fire had been the branches around the fucking fire
there we go.
had been cut with a knife.
We got there. Okay.
No knives.
Were on any of the persons?
Not found.
Okay. Interesting.
The volume of work done suggested that there were more people around the fire helping build the fire than the two that were found near the fire.
So
makes sense, right?
Krivonischenko and Doroshenko.
If someone took their clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In this situation, you're an asshole if you steal your good buddy's clothes.
Yeah.
Like for yourself.
Right.
So that's like they died. Now it's okay. Now we can split up the clothes situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, that makes sense.
So, the investigators also found various fragments of clothing here.
Right.
A ripped sweater cuff next to the fire.
Okay.
The trees near the fire had been cut with knives, but there were no knives. Yuri Doroshenko was found with gray foaming liquid on his cheek.
Gray foaming liquid?
Potentially an expelling of air.
Okay, I guess, sure.
Krivonishenko landed in or near the fire and potentially burnt his socks and parts of his body. So essentially, they're thinking they climbed the tree, they fell.
Oh.
One of them expelled so much air that it applied a gray foaming liquid here.
Oh.
The other one fell into the fire and burnt some of his clothes. Okay.
Interesting.
After falling to the ground, not being able to move due to exhaustion, hypothermia, they later died not too far from the fire.
Okay. Fair enough.
The fire had only been lit for approximately an hour and a half, which means that they found approximately 8 centimeters worth of branches of cedar that had been burned through. So how much of the branch was burned through, was how long they could tell that the fire was lit.
Oh, okay.
So about 8 centimeters was approximately an hour and a half of lit fire.
That's fucking wild. It's weird that they can tell that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really just impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Forensic stuff, all that, whatever, but Jesus Christ, how would you know that? But okay.
I feel like there's a lot of variables that could throw that off, though,
Oh,
right?
100%, yes.
Wind.
Someone putting it out early.
Mm-hmm.
How old were the branches really?
How old were they? Yeah.
Were they more wet? Were they dry? Because, I mean...
That's all variable.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. So, how Krivonishenko and Doroshenko died, which was side by side, indicated that whoever was last in contact with the bodies felt compassion, pity, and respect towards the victims, and potentially moved them because of the livor mortis.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because, yep. Okay.
That same day, Igor Dyatlov, the leader, was found.
Oh, dear.
Okay. He was approximately 300 meters or 328 yards uphill from the cedar tree.
Okay.
His body was positioned in a way that it looked like he was actually headed back towards camp.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was dressed decent. He was in an unbuttoned fur sleeveless vest with 2 different socks on, no shoes. It's hard to explain kind of the uneven distribution. It could be that he had 2 socks on one foot and he moved one sock to the other foot.
Sure.
Just to protect it. We don't know.
No.
He had minor abrasions on his internal wrist,
Okay.
both knees and ankles. He had dried blood on his lips, minor abrasions throughout his face. He had bruises on his knuckles, common in hand-to-hand fights.
Sure.
There were no internal injuries. His cause of death was hypothermia.
So, he's what, the 3rd or 4th person to cause of death, hypothermia?
3rd. He's the 3rd found.
All right.
Yes. Next, we have Zenaida Kolmogorova.
What? What's her name?
Kolmogorova.
Okay.
Nailed it.
She was found next.
Okay.
She was beyond Dyatlov, another 330 meters heading towards the tent.
How many feet is that?
So 630 meters from the tent. I did not do a conversion on that one.
That's fine. No
630 meters from the cedar tree.
I mean, that's pretty far.
She was dressed fairly well in layers. She had 3 pairs of socks, no shoes.
That's so weird. Like, why would you have so many socks but no shoes? That's just strange.
Well, they found, 9 pairs of shoes inside the tent.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck.
They were starting to wash their feet.
I'm putting all the socks on. Give me more socks.
More socks, please.
So she had numerous contusions on her face and hands.
Okay.
She had a long bruise on the side of her torso.
A very long bruise.
Which looks like a potential baton hit.
Oh.
And the important thing here is that this is pre-mortem, right?
Right.
After death, you don't bruise. So
No, correct, because, yeah, 100%.
there's no blood flow, right?
Yep.
And where she's at on the pass, on the way to the tent, there is nothing growing.
Interesting.
There's
Bald
nothing
spot.
there.
Okay.
Her cause of death is hypothermia due to a violent accident.
Violent accident, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Next, they find Rustem Slobodin on March 5th, so a couple days later.
All right.
He was at a distance of 480 meters from the cedar, so he was actually between Igor Dyatlov and Zenaida Kolmogorova. She's the one last name that I just can't quite get.
Okay.
Kolmogorova.
Kolmogorova.
Yes. So he was covered with 50 centimeters of snow, face down, headed towards the tent. He was dressed better than the others.
Mm-hmm.
He had one felt boot.
One felt boot.
He had dried blood on his nose, a lot of abrasions on the side of his face,
Yeah.
bruised knuckles like he was in a fight,
Okay.
bruises on his left tibia, hemorrhages on his temporalis muscles of the face, up here,
Okay.
fracture of the frontal bone, potentially from a blunt object, but not lethal.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
His injury pattern is a reverse of what we would actually see in injuries suffered by a freezing man in the last minutes of his life, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it looks as if Rustem fell repeatedly on his face as he was walking down the mountain, except for he was walking up the mountain.
I mean, I guess. Okay.
The cats are going crazy in that room.
I hear them. Yeah.
It looks as if so he had bruises and scratches, which were all blamed on like last minute agony, essentially.
Yeah.
Although it was still somewhat unclear how it managed to harm him. When a person falls, even in an irrational state, my cats are going crazy at the door.
So initially, I thought it was like popcorn popping, and I'm like, "There's gonna be fucking popcorn." Oh, it's escalating. It's really popping now. Okay, that's not popcorn.
Pop it like it's hot.
Okay.
All right.
So we don't know how he did damage to his exterior hands and legs.
Right.
When a person falls down in like an irrational state, it's usually the palms that suffer.
Typically,
Right. You're
yeah.
trying to like
because you're
stop
stopping yourself. Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. So somehow every time he potentially fell, he hit his face.
That's so weird.
So if he hit his head, he could have lost coordination.
Yeah.
On Slobodin, the livor mortis spots were on the top surface of his body, which means he potentially was flipped over.
Right.
With Krivanashenko, with Krivanashenko and Doroshenko, the medical examiner potentially mistook frostbite erythema, which is redness, for livor mortis.
Oh.
When frostbitten bodies are thawing, the body can turn red, making it mistaking it for livor mortis. This could
Right.
possibly have
Sure.
happened to Rustem.
Okay.
Okay. 2 months went on without the last 4 hikers being found.
Oh dear.
The weather was horrendous,
Yep.
and snowfall was making the search impossible.
Okay.
And at this point, we are going to take a small break. We don't have much more to go, but I need to pee again.
That's fine.
Okay. We're back.
And guess who's back?
Back again.
Shady's back. Tell
Tell
a friend.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Yeah. I like
Okay,
it.
we
Yes,
are on
yes,
to
yes, yes,
May
yes.
4th.
Yes.
Be with you?
Yes. Once the snow started melting.
May 4th, so that's 2 months later?
Wait.
Yes.
Holy
Like,
shit.
This was
2
before
months.
Star Wars, right?
This
This
is pre-Star Wars.
pre-Star Wars,
Shit.
but Star Wars transcends everything.
That's fair.
We just didn't know the story until
Yeah,
the 77.
that's fair.
It was
Okay.
already there.
It was cooking.
Let's hone this in, folks.
Back on track.
Once the snow started settling,
May 4th.
just kidding.
Thawing.
Once it started melting,
I say settling.
a Mansi tribe native
Yes.
and his dog were walking around and found some pants with the right leg cut off.
Pants at a time like this?
And he found
Do I
another.
have to put pants on?
He found the left half of a woman's sweater. Again, all cut up.
Where's the right half?
The right half was cut off as well as the sleeve of the left half.
Okay.
So it was a vest.
Yes.
So this area in this search was searched with probes. Like people would like poke down a bunch of probes to see if it hit something solid
and move
during
on.
the search.
Yeah.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine that job?
No, fuck that. That would be terrible.
And they did search this area with the probes, but the snow was too deep to actually reach where the bodies were found.
Okay.
But a den was found
A den?
about 70 to 75 meters from the cedar tree downhill.
Okay.
The Labaz?
Not quite.
Oh, okay.
The den was made by the surviving 4 members of the group in a ravine that was hidden from cold winds. Cedar branches
Yeah.
were brought here and laid out to minimize contact with the snow.
Okay.
So they built this den, they brought in these branches, and they would sit on the branches.
Right.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Okay. So, on one hand, it shows that they are sane enough to do all these survival
They still have the
tactics.
survival instinct.
Right.
Yes. On the other hand, it's unclear why it worked, because where did the knife go? There was no knife. There's
Yeah.
no knife.
Right. Yeah.
No knife found.
No knife.
And some of the
Well-
clothes that were taken from the bodies left underneath the cedar tree were placed on the cedar branches, and they weren't being used.
Okay.
See, that is weird.
So, devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Right?
Devil's avocado.
Devil's lettuce.
That too.
So, if these branches were hypothetically gotten from around the fire, right?
Right,
You know,
yeah.
we've climbed the tree, we've gotten the branches, we're
Yeah.
trying to look out. This could explain some of like the shin injuries, right? You're
Well, yeah.
breaking it over your knee because
Oh, yeah.
there's no evidence,
yeah, yeah.
like no one
But
has
I-
a knife that's known.
But I would
Right.
assume that they would know the difference between something being broken. Your cord is making noises. If you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
put it across the microphone there, or that. So
You're good.
yeah, you're good. I think they would know the difference between a branch being broke versus being cut.
Yeah. I mean, you're
True.
not wrong there because they could definitely tell that. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird because you would definitely know if it was broke or cut.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, there's significant difference between the two.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, I don't know, strange. Anyways, go on.
So the leftover, excuse me, the 4 remaining bodies.
And these are the people that were by the
ravine.
ravine.
They were not found in the den that they built.
No, they were found in a ravine because of potentially what the other one I listened to was. There was moving water underneath it. What's the word I'm looking for? Fuck.
Disintegrated human flesh?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So they were buried a few feet away in a ravine under 4 meters or 13 feet of snow.
But it also was snowing
And blowing.
and blowing. So, I mean, there's potential for that to be a part of that 13 feet. So it's not like significant, like, I shouldn't say not significant. It's not like, okay, well, snow all fell on them. It could have been blowing around, whatever. There's a lot of different variations of what could have happened for them to be under that much snow.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. So if you both want to take a look at the document that I created.
The one with the tent and everything?
Yes. So
Yeah.
it has a picture of the tent where all of the hikers were found.
Yeah.
And kind of like the overall visual. Of course, it's not accurate in any way, shape, or form. Just kind of a visual representation.
Overall visual, yeah.
Yeah, just so that you kind of know where everybody was found and where.
Right. So who was Dyatlov dating again? What was her name?
Zenaida, the one closest to the tent, who had died uphill.
Okay. So they weren't far apart from each other, but they were
Someone
not
was
close.
between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rustem
was...
Slobodin was between them.
Right, okay. I was just trying to figure out, like, how close they were, basically. So, okay.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Ludmila Dubinina.
Yeah, there she is.
Yes, she was at the bottom of the ravine.
She was one of the four, yeah.
Yes. She was found fairly dressed.
Okay.
She was wearing the clothes of some of the others.
Which speculation is they found others dead.
They died. They took their clothes to help their survival.
Correct.
The clothing that she wore was Grigory Krivonishenko.
Right.
And it was found after the fact that his clothing, at least his top, was radioactive.
Right. Which is just wild that they would even test for that. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly.
So Ludmila, apparently in the last attempt to kind of preserve her feet, also took off her sweater and cut it in 2 pieces.
Okay.
And put it around her feet. She was already wearing 2 pairs of socks and a third one on one foot, but not the other. Like she couldn't find the pair or whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, if she was in a rush, yeah.
So one half of the feather sweater was on one foot. The other half she left. She actually left on the slope. She actually didn't get it on her foot.
Okay.
Somehow it was unintentionally left behind.
Sure.
She had severe internal injuries.
Severe.
Yes. Ribs 2, 3, 4, and 5 were broken on the right side, and 2 were fractured lines, which were visible.
Yeah.
Ribs 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are broken on the left side,
Which is basically all of them.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
with an additional
is there
2
any
fracture
left?
lines.
That's crazy.
Just your first one, which is kind of hard to get at. But
yeah, you're not wrong there. Holy balls.
There was a massive hemorrhage in her heart's right atrium, potentially due to one of the broken ribs.
Okay.
She also had...
I'm so ready for you to say this. Fuck yeah. Say it.
Say it.
She had a missing tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And eyes.
And eyes and part of her lip.
And her hyoid was broken.
What's that?
Your hyoid is way up in your throat.
Yeah.
And is an injury that typically only occurs in cases of strangulation.
Oh, sure.
I have not heard that in any of my research.
That is one of the most fucked up injuries in this whole spiel.
No,
and I haven't heard that in any.
Yeah.
Not even on the Dyatlov Pass website.
So, questionable.
There's so many
right?
things. It's crazy.
But yeah, her hyoid was broken, which isn't an easy thing to do, right?
No, I get that.
It is a small bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
And it's a fragile bone, but
still,
you do have to really get up there and apply pressure.
No, for sure, because
consistent
otherwise...
pressure.
How would you do that? Yeah.
Right.
No, it has to be like consistent excessive
hard pressure.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, I get that.
So Dubinina was found lying on a natural ledge with continuous water flowing over her. Okay, her mouth was open.
Yes.
And while some have claimed her tongue had been torn out or eaten, the medical report is more restrained in saying, quote, the tongue is missing.
Yeah, I mean, they also didn't fucking know, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems weird, but yeah, okay.
The forensic examiner noted not only the missing tongue, but also the absence of the hypoglossal muscle, which I believe is like one of these like side tongue muscles.
Okay.
And the floor muscles of the mouth. So she was missing all of that.
Okay. Did they mention anything other than what they weren't missing? Like in terms of this seems normal? Or
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm just curious because it's like, I get what they're stating there, obviously, but I don't know. Never mind.
So what's weird is that there is a high lack of detail in the autopsy compared to other autopsies.
Okay.
There is no clear explanation for the vagueness, which only fuels in our speculation.
Absolutely.
Right.
Her stomach contained 100 grams of dark brown mucosal substance.
Okay.
Which is usually said as coagulated blood.
Yep.
And this interpreted
Interesting.
as a sign of her heart was still beating when the tongue was removed.
Yeah.
Oh, so she was still alive.
This is speculation.
Obviously.
It is not proven, but speculation.
But obviously, speculation. They think she was alive when her. Okay.
Yes.
So much like our conversation about how you can tell that a branch is broken or cut. You can probably tell if a tongue is cut
or
ripped
out.
Or ripped out. Yeah. 100%.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
So
just for funsies.
Her official cause of death was listed as hemorrhage to the right atrium of the heart by multiple fractured ribs and severe internal bleeding.
Sure.
No external wounds.
That's weird.
None.
That's so weird. Sure.
Coroners described the trauma as being hit by a car, yet no soft tissue damage, cuts, or abrasions.
How hard were they hit by the car?
I don't know.
You would have to think, right? Like,
I'm just saying, because like
cause that. Like,
no. Anyways.
I'll say in terms of this.
Yes.
Dubinina would have died with that injury.
Yeah.
Within 10 to 20 minutes after the initial trauma.
Oh shit.
It would have been quick.
It would have been very fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Probably very slow for her.
Well, yeah, you're not
in
wrong
the grand
there.
scheme,
but overall, her,
fast.
not so much.
Yeah. So Semyon Zolotaryov.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I have to pull the picture up again?
If you'd like. Yeah, you've got that reference photo now.
Yeah.
So Semyon had similar injuries as Ludmila.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
He had broken ribs 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the right side only.
So basically, that's so weird that it was on one side, but
yeah, she was on both sides. He was on one side.
7 and 1 and 7. Is that?
So it would be like something hit, potentially hit her directly, right?
Yes.
It seems
and
that way. Yeah.
Something. Or he turned to the side and
took
it on the side.
If she was
very
forward
possible.
and he was turned to the side and they both got hit, it would just be his side and her front.
No, it makes total sense. Yeah.
So he had hemorrhaging into the cardiac muscle. None of the soft tissue was damaged.
Okay.
He also had missing eyeballs.
Animals like to eat. They like soft parts.
Yeah.
There are foxes, reindeer, voles, squirrels.
Sure.
So, yeah, potentially.
A lot of different wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was sad. Mm-hmm. Honey badgers?
These wounds are very similar to the type of trauma that results from a shockwave or a bomb.
Shockwave. Really?
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to disagree, but okay.
We'll talk about theories.
We'll talk about it.
Both Zolotaryov and Dubinina had an interesting pattern of injuries. They are both similar in direction and force, despite their shape, their height, their body composition. And Also, with Zolotaryov, Semyon Zolotaryov, he most likely did not die of the cold.
Oh.
He was well dressed and he had burqa shoes.
What are burqa shoes?
They're just like really insulated type boots that are
so pretty thick.
in Russia.
Okay, gotcha.
He also was found with a camera around his neck. Now, what's weird, Yuri Yudin, the one who turned back,
yeah,
he said that there were only 4 cameras, and
this would be number 5.
He did not know that this one existed.
Well, I mean, it's possible he just didn't know.
It's possible he
I
just
mean,
didn't
that
know.
doesn't seem like he's lying.
You're operating as a group, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple cameras floating around if you hit that perfect photo op.
Yep.
But I mean, maybe they all look the same.
I mean,
maybe they're
very
all
possible.
just
yeah,
atypical black cameras. Who knows?
right. But it just seems weird that I don't know.
What sucks is the melting water around his body damaged the film.
Of course.
And we're sure of that, right? Because no one would lie about that.
No.
Now, speaking of lying,
we have never had photographic evidence that we'd never hid.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Never.
Apparently, he also had a pen and paper in his hand at the time of death.
Really?
One of the rescuers recalled that Colonel Ortyovkov, sorry, he grabbed the notepad, looked at it, cursed, and said...
Cursed?
Dropped a cheese ball.
I dropped a cheese ball.
He said, quote, "He's written nothing," end quote.
So,
to this day, he seems to have been the only person to have seen this notebook, and it was never filed into evidence. So basically, it's hearsay.
How is that possible, though? That makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't. So the question is, was it blank? No one can account for that.
No, because no one's seen it but him.
Is it blank because it was actually blank? Or did the elements wash it away? Like you're writing with a fucking pencil, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So could be that it was exposed to sun, the paper degraded.
It was 2 months.
I don't know the quality of lead in Russia in 1959. So there's a lot of variables there, right?
No, 100%. It just seems really odd.
But it's interesting to me that someone experienced something, right? At the point they are about to die, and is like, I need to write this the fuck down. I don't think that it's like I'm leaving a letter for my loved ones.
No.
This is like my final memoir.
Right.
Right?
No, 100%.
This is like I need to leave a clue about something, and this is fucking highly important. So the fact that it is not in evidence of any kind or documented is interesting to me.
Yeah, because in essence, he was trying to find a way for it to live past this time. So, yeah. No, it's strange. Yeah. No, I get that.
Okay, so the next person found in this ravine was Alexander Kolevatov. Okay, he was 24. His clothing was also radioactive. His upper torso was protected by a sleeveless shirt, a long-sleeve shirt, sweater, fleece sweater, ski jacket, but it was unzipped.
Okay.
His ski jacket was damaged. He had a big hole on the left sleeve with burnt edges.
Okay.
His right sleeve was also damaged, and several tears were found. His jacket was unbuttoned and unzipped.
Oh, shit.
He had woolen socks, no shoes. He had a broken nose.
Okay.
And in this is where one of those like weird things on the same website doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
On Dyatlovpass.com, it said that he had a deformed neck. In another part of the website, same website, it said he had a snapped neck.
Deformed neck.
I feel like that could mean a visible deformity.
I mean, it very well
which could be a snapped neck.
Yes.
Right,
so deformed is a little bit more generic. Snapped is a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
But it's just it's odd.
It's
so
strange, yeah.
he also had an open wound behind his ear, a 3 by 1.5 centimeter wound.
Yep.
His autopsy was also lacking a ton of details from the ME.
I'm shocked.
Are you?
Lastly,
Not at all.
Not at all.
Skeptical bitch over here.
Lastly, we have Nikolai Thibault-Brignol.
Yeah.
It was suggested that he and Zolotaryov might have been outside the tent at the time the whatever fucking happened.
Okay.
The time of the event.
It was suggested that they both had to go pee, and so that's why they were so well dressed compared to the others, that they were outside peeing.
Okay.
But both men were much better prepared than the rest of the group. They both wore hand-mitten woolen socks and a pair of felt boots.
Felt boots. Weird.
Thibault-Brignol had a deep, depressed, multi-splintered fracture in his skull.
Okay.
The medical examiner said these theories would not have been the result of Nikolai simply falling from the level of his own height,
Right.
but falling and hitting his head at a deeper depth. So this kind of injury could have only occurred if he had been thrown into the air
Sure.
and his head hit against the rocks.
Okay.
Yeah. Lack of damage to the soft tissue showed that he could not have been hit by someone with a rock by someone's hand.
Well, right. I mean, look at it. Okay.
This kind of trauma could have occurred if Thibault-Brignol had been thrown and fallen and hit his head against rocks, ice, etc. by the gust of a strong wind.
Right.
Like a 75-mile-an-hour wind.
I would say so.
Give or take, yeah.
He probably would have had a severe concussion and could have only had shown signs of life for about 2 to 3 hours before death.
Again, probably felt like fucking years for him.
Yes.
No, I mean, fuck.
I think at that point, you'd probably be limited in your motor function.
Yeah.
Right?
Everything,
You
really.
can't move, and
No.
you're freezing.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
This is where the facts end.
And then next is where the theories start.
fuck yeah.
What scared the hikers so much that they had to cut themselves out of a tent
And this is pure speculation.
Yeah.
'cause
and
clearly it's aliens.
Yeah.
and
Radioactivity.
walk single file calmly down the hill?
Do we know they were calmly, or they just walk single file?
Question about the footprints.
Yeah, it's about the footprints.
Yeah, like, seriously.
I don't know. I mean, forensic people can chime in here, but how do you tell that steps are like even keeled and calm versus you're
I
just
would
running
say
in
if
a
you're
line?
running,
Right.
you're dragging your feet.
There's
These are
definitely going to be...
larger
clearly
stride.
steps.
Sure.
These
Okay.
are most clearly steps.
No, I get that. However, there can be variations, and it's
I
like,
would assume so.
how do you know?
But
So,
all
yeah.
of them,
It might be like a everybody's in a fucking panic,
Yep.
but we need to remain calm situation. Like, we don't know the speed they're walking, but it could be calmly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
there's no signs of struggle. There's no like hardcore external injury, just minor abrasions,
There's
which could
not,
be animal
like-
activity.
there's not like a visible animal attack.
No. And
It's
No,
not
there's
Sasquatch, right?
There's no claw marks. There's no bite marks. There's nothing.
it's 100% Yeti.
Yeah. I mean,
The thing is, though, obviously there's eyes and tongue and whatever we're
Yeah.
missing. Very, very, very well could have been
animal
an
activity.
animal.
Yeah.
because they don't know better.
Yeah.
They're like, ooh,
Delicious
Oh,
snack.
yeah.
Eyeballs.
They're up there for survival as
I'm
well.
fucking
yeah.
hungry. So,
That's like gold in the desert, you know?
That's
Water in the desert?
yeah.
And people don't
that
want to
sounds-
blame it
that
on
sounds more
animals
accurate.
because it's not someone to blame. It's not
Right.
a malicious thing. It's not malicious.
No.
It's just animals being animals.
Well,
It's
an animal
literally,
doesn't
yeah.
hit someone with the force of 75 miles an hour
No.
and destroy ribs.
no.
No,
I mean, maybe, but-
whereas somebody could be like, let me move you, animal. I'm 75 miles per hour. And like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
No, they don't fucking know the difference between 75, 85,
Yeah.
20. It doesn't matter. They just don't know. So, I don't know.
So our next episode is going to be about the theories because there's
So many fucking theories.
they have 76 theories out there.
Oh my god.
We're going to talk about 8 of them.
Maybe 12 if I throw a few oddballs.
There we
That's
go.
fine, but please, for the love of God, not 76.
Not 76. We're not going to talk about 76.
I think about 76, but that's fine. That's how my brain works.
Well, Audra, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes,
for having me.
thank you.
Yes, we will resume with our theories with Audra and Bradley, as always. Cheers. I've got an empty beer.
I don't.
Fuck.
I'm almost empty. Cheers.
Cheers.
Audra, you're not drinking, but cheers nonetheless. And thank you for being here. And this has been fun. And let's get into some fucking theories. So,
Hell yeah.
Well,
I suppose. All right, buffoons. That's it for today's episode.
buckle up because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore?
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com. We are Bradley and Kate. Music by Corey Akers.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.